welcome to Mod Pod with Fukunaga, a podcast that celebrates the strength and pulse of the luxury market. And now, here's your host, Vanessa Fukunaga.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mod Pod with Fukunaga. And today's special guest star is Mr. Dan Thurmon, famed author, award-winning, Hall of Famer, speaker, acrobat, TikTok star.
Okay. I mean, that's enough.
Okay.
I'm just honored to be with Vanessa. This woman does everything, and I love that we met. When we met, it was over COVID. And how did you find me to bring me in? Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember. You were doing acrobatics on stage at the Engel and Volker's Exchange Conference.
That's right. And so I was hired as their keynote speaker.
Yes.
And I know maybe it seems strange, acrobat, keynote speaker, what is this? I kind of teach with my full self, with my physicality. So I use acrobatics and those types of things to illustrate how to lead through change, how balance isn't what you get, it's what you do, and various principles for my books, like Off Balance, On Purpose. And that's where you were.
Exactly.
We connected live and in person in Florida.
Yes.
And then you kept me in mind and said, Dan, how can you help me? Because my team's virtual now, and we need to figure out how to inspire people virtually.
Can you believe? So I see him in person,
yes,
which was amazing. So I don't know if I should give away some of the secrets. Should
I? I mean, let's see how you do.
Some of them.
Let's see how you do.
So you are on stage, and first of all, if you did nothing else but speak, your words were so incredibly empowering, motivational, inspirational. But he adds into it, I don't even know how you get started, so we'll get into that in just a minute. But
okay.
Acrobatics, juggling with knives, handstands on podiums, I kid you not, all while not out of breath. The inflections in your voice as if you're just speaking, and people are realizing and seeing that he's sitting there on his hands on top of a podium. I mean, it was incredible.
Well, everybody learns a little differently. And for me, just hearing a message was never enough. I wanted to see it illustrated or have some kind of an experience. And so I try to create that kind of an experience. But you're right, it is about the words and the message, and that always drives everything. But it's hard for human beings, and especially adults, to change, to modify their life or their behavior. And so you have to approach it from so many different ways to try to affect that change, which you well know from motivating and leading teams yourself for quite some time. It's hard work.
And right? I don't even do acrobats.
Well, and I work throughout so many different industries, and it's always the same challenge. It's about getting people engaged, keeping the team you have, attracting new talent. How do we reach customers, and how do we help people with their personal evolution in life, as well as their professional commitment to excellence.
Do you hear this? I mean, I could listen to him all day long. Oh my gosh.
Well, tomorrow you will.
Tomorrow I will, exactly. I mean, magically, you're doing our Engel and Volker's Snell Real Estate.
That's right.
Annual training, and it's more than just training. Like, how do you approach a scenario like this, where I'm asking you to come in, help lead the team?
Yeah.
Kind of, it's team building, it's motivation, it's people that are experienced in their craft. But how do you get them to open up and want themselves to actually take it to the next level, to really hear your words and apply them, and not just think, like you said, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. How do you teach them to be open and think, maybe it's something I should know or I do know, but I'm hearing it in a different way and I do want to apply it? How do you approach something like that?
Well, and it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. It's also hard to teach a successful person that they still need to learn and grow and make them hungry again, like the way they once were before they achieved some measure of success.
Yeah.
And so the way I approach it is, obviously we talked about what are your goals and vision for the experience, and what do you want people to feel, and what do you want them to learn, and how do you want their behavior to be a little bit different afterward.
Yeah.
But I also think about, they are the experts. I'm not here to talk about how they do their job. I want to bring some insight. And so any speaking engagement, any conversation, any sale, just of an idea, much less a product or a house, it's about an exchange of ownership. So if I'm on stage and I have something very important I want to share with you, it's not enough for me to just say it. I have to make you want it.
It's
right?
true.
And so there's a way that you earn that credibility and respect up front I kind of do that by demonstrating who I am and what I'm all about, so that people know this is going to be different. This is, now your audience has seen me a time or two, and so there's a familiarity.
We love Dan.
Yeah, and so I don't have that element of surprise as I once did.
Yep.
But don't worry, I've got some new things for you too.
I believe it.
But I like to address 3 different things kind of in general, and you'll hear me start with this tomorrow.
Okay.
Willingness, ability, and capacity.
I love that.
So all that ever gets done in the world is that what you're actually honestly willing to do. You've created the skill or the ability, the knowledge, the relationships to accomplish, and the capacity within yourself or within your team to pull that off. And so we start with those models to really get honest, because most people, when it comes to learning and growing, they often go through the motions. They say they want it, they say it's important, but they're not truly willing to do whatever it takes until they reach a dead end or a sense of desperation. And so how do you get honest with yourself about your willingness to either increase it or to release it and say, you know what, I'm tired of just spinning my wheels and this isn't important to me anymore. I'm going to move on to something else so that I can create more space and capacity to do what I can do and learn what I want to learn next.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
And you've spoken in front of, I guess it's the troops, the front lines, royalty.
I have.
England, Volkersville real estate. But you've been all around the world. How did you even get started? Because I hear you speak, and you can learn this, but you can't learn this. It has to come from within. It really does. How did you get started?
It was an inner calling for me, for sure. It started with entertainment and performance when I was a kid. My mom's an artist, and she always said, Dan, it doesn't matter what you do. Anything in life can be a work of art. Any career can be an artistic contribution, because you get to make it your own. You get to infuse it with your choices and your attention to detail and the level of excellence, and where you sign your own mark of like, this is mine, And so I love that freedom. And we were at an art show at a Renaissance festival when I first saw a juggler, which was perfect because I was a hyperactive kid and I was getting in trouble all the time, and I needed that channel for some energy.
I can't even picture that.
Yeah.
I mean, I picture the juggling, but I can't picture you being a hyperactive kid.
I made good grades and stuff, but I was very, I didn't have the patience to sit through a class. Instead of getting medicated, I found a channel that would release that motivation into this outlet, and I was now learning how to juggle and unicycle and all these performance things, and suddenly I was getting attention, but positive tension.
Yeah,
right?
in a good
Whereas
way.
before it was like, why can't we make him sit still? And now it's like,
we don't want you to sit still.
Yeah, would you show us that again, or what are you working on next?
Yeah.
And so for me, I didn't necessarily choose to be a performer, but I just kind of fell into it. And then I got fascinated about I'm learning these tricks. What happens when you physically become capable of a new skill, like a new ability? What changed about me? Was it something in my body? Was it in my mind? I learned something and I can execute what I'm thinking about, or was it kind of belief? And just before I didn't think it was possible, and now I think it is, and so I can do it now. And it's a combination of both. And if so, how do you accelerate that learning curve? And so this got me down the road at a very young age of learning about personal development and neuro-linguistic programming and all these tools that people can use to succeed at any age. And then after I got my business degree from college, paying my way through school by performing, I started speaking, and I started doing shows that incorporated more of a message. And then I learned about the whole speaking profession and authors, and I got involved with that group, and then it was I found my people, I found my home. And that was, since then I've been a member of the National Speakers Association for 28 years.
Wow.
I served as the president of the entire organization and on the board for 10 years. And I've achieved some pretty high degrees of celebrity with my speaking, but also with my books, Off Balance on Purpose. And my new book coming out in the spring is called Positive Chaos.
I can't wait to read that one. We, of course, have Off Balance on Purpose.
Right.
Everybody in the company has it.
Yes.
But I definitely want to hear about the
It's gonna
Positive
be good.
Chaos. Your next level is always thinking ahead of the next person. How do you make it different? That's what I'm always trying to think of. How do we make it different? How do you take your next training session training session that honestly nobody else does like we do, and I'm proud of that. I want to invest in our people and to, spend the time and the money to do it, to gather everybody. It's important to me. And how do we level it up?
Yes.
Like bringing you in. And I love that they know you.
Right. Yeah, me too. And now they have some like extension of that relationship.
Exactly.
Which ties me into, you were asking like, how do you keep doing it? How do you know what's next? You don't. And that's kind of what positive chaos is about. It really is releasing yourself from the idea of rigid goals, rigid thinking, and saying we have to like synthesize all the complexity of the world, understand it completely, and then decide what to do. Because that's impossible. There's never been more information. There's been more information created in the last 2 years than in all of human history beforehand. And so when we say we want to endeavor to like learn something and go on this journey of continued evolution, if you wait until you think you know it all to make the next move, you're already too late because everything's already changed.
True.
And so for me, it's about three things. It's about momentum, trajectory, and congruence, or alignment, you could also say. And for that, I mean, momentum is just motion. You feel like you have, because without motion, without movement, you have no energy, and you can't turn, you can't make moves, you can't go around things or over things. And so when we sense that our lives or our businesses are reaching some impediment to our momentum, and we're stopped because we have to like wait for something to happen, or someone else's decision is involved, then what you have to do is find a way to generate momentum elsewhere, to find a way around it, because without that movement, you have no momentum. And so that's the first thing, is just, are you on the move, and do you feel like it's purposeful movement? Second thing is trajectory, which means things are getting better. And not at any moment in time, everything can't be getting better all at once. Some things are, you might have a health issue, you might have a relationship challenge, you might have a decline in your business. The economy might be in the tank. Things are happening, but the question is, what is getting better? And over time, am I on this upward trajectory where I feel like I've got an aspirational idea of my future? Like I'm looking forward to something, and it's compelling me to go.
And I'm like, tell me more.
Yes. And then the third thing, Vanessa, is the alignment piece, the congruence piece. And that's where you get so clear on what you love and what you value, and your principles or your faith or whatever it is that really drives you, recognizing we're not going to live forever. We get one chance on this earth. And so in that journey through a lifetime, every day, every year, every decade, I want to be able to say that my decisions, my actions, my words are more and more intentionally in alignment and congruent with those things that I value, with those principles. And I think if we could do that, if we can keep moving, keep growing, and become more true to ourselves, the goals don't even really matter, And what I've found is the things that happen as a result of that plan are often way better than the goals that you sat down and imagined in a room by yourself.
I agree. When you're pushed.
Right.
When you're pushed.
And inspired.
It's so true. I mean, you sit there and the way you describe things is magical. You know this, right? You know it intellectually, but to hear you talk about, being able to move without motion, it's impossible. I mean, if you picture standing here, it's much harder to turn than if you're walking in motion to turn. That's what I'm envisioning.
Or accelerating your car through a turn, right? You lose traction unless you have some force propelling it. The way I really think about that, that, is when I'm mountain unicycling.
Of course, that's completely normal.
Yeah, that's why.
As we all do.
My favorite workout routine and secret passion is mountain off-road unicycling, which sounds crazy.
It's insane.
But it's not really. I mean, because you're not going as fast as you would be on a mountain bike, because you don't have gears. Everything's direct drive.
True, it's so completely normal.
So you can't like blaze down a hill. Down a hill, you're actually working to resist the wheel.
Ooh, that's true. That's a good workout.
So everything is technical problems. Like, how do you get over that route or rock or around that turn or through that river? And so you work these problems. It's super fun. It's like one of those things that, like when you work out, it's like it frees your mind, right?
It does. Yes.
Because your mind's so spinning on everything all the time. And so we need something that can clear that space and let us, and that's what it is for me.
Yeah.
But if you lose momentum, you're done. You come off.
It's so true. Oh my gosh, I could have you here forever. Now, you've even done TED Talks.
So I did one. It was a TEDx talk, and it was several years ago, and it was such a special day because my son Eddie was there with me, and so I involved him in the TED Talk, and it's still up there. If you Google Dan Thurmon TED Talk or go to danthurmon.com, that's a great way to do it. And you'll see Eddie when he was much younger, but that was fun.
So tell me, like, your favorite. Do people give you a topic or a subject, or are they kind of like me where I'm thinking, honestly, I'm not sure what I don't have a topic per se, but
for a TED Talk?
For anything, for any of your speaking engagements where I'm saying, I don't necessarily have a topic, but this is the idea. I want to grow the team. And honestly, I'm thinking about me, how I want to grow, and I hope I'm modeling how I would like others to grow. I have some level of success, and so how do I free my mind? How do I make time? How do I really let your words permeate my life and really implement? How do you approach your different speaking engagements?
Well, great writers write about what they know. I think great speakers write about what they know and what they really understand deeply and can explain, including their personal experience, because it's amazing how much of speaking and teaching in life, in any aspect, comes through metaphor.
That's true.
And interpreting metaphors and teaching through metaphor is not just that's biblical, and it's also how humanity works, because everything's connected. You can look at excellence in any discipline or any area, and with an astute eye, you can say, I see how that connects to something I do understand, and I can bring something to enhance it or teach it. And that was kind of a gift that I had when I was younger. But what I try to do is really get to know my client and the audience, so that when I'm up there and I'm presenting my thoughts and stories and messages, that it's not basically them hearing my stuff. It's through a lens.
Yes.
And I don't rewrite my speech, but I just really get in the mindset of who these people are and what they need. And there's a sense of desperation. Like it's so important to me that you get this, because there's this, our lives are intersecting here. And that may never happen again. In fact, in most cases, it probably doesn't. And so I get maybe 45 minutes, an hour in most instances.
Right.
I have a little more with your team tomorrow. But so why I got to feel like I bring everything, like all of me to that moment. And I feel like the more we can do that, the more we can see the connections in our lives and the metaphors and how everything affects everything, and you're not little, you're not small in any aspect, because the way you talk to someone or treat someone can really have that same level impact in how their life shifts. Little things change everything, man.
It's true. I was just at a golf tournament here, and there was a lady who's my dear friend, and it was maybe 5 years ago. We just happened to be in a salon together. We weren't as close then, but we knew each other. And I will never forget the words she said to me, and I mentioned that the other day. I said, you probably don't even remember this conversation, but I want to take the moment to tell you what an impact you had on me. She knew me, we were friends, but not that close, and she just said the most kind words about how proud she was of me, and just these words of encouragement. And I thought, I remember this conversation like it was yesterday. And she just about died. And I said, I want you to know that. For me, it was important for her to know what an impact she had on me. And you do the same. I don't know if you really know that. You should really know the impact that you have on people. It's amazing. And like you said, when you were saying desperation, it's this need to connect. I feel like I have that too. And but it does. I can feel when you're presenting, you're listening, and it's not listening. It's the sense of connection with the audience. You know just what they're feeling, and it is literally this palpable something in the air. You can't touch it, but you can definitely feel it when you're presenting. It's beyond.
Thank you.
Really beyond.
Your friend, did she remember that?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
But she just took a minute. Just, oh my gosh, you're right. Yeah, I remember that.
Because it was never as special to that person.
No.
It was another moment in her life. But for you, it was the moment.
It's true.
That changed everything.
It's true.
And so what I like to say to audiences is never assume someone you admire or like you feel like they've got a quality that's just remarkable. Like never assume they know that.
It's true.
Because we're all so close to our own strength that we devalue it constantly and we just feel like it's ordinary because it comes easy to us.
Right.
But it's not. And so I look at it like activation. Like when you name someone else's uniqueness and strength, it's like you just push that button and you're like, okay, boom, I just turned you on. Like you're now activated for the fullness of that ability. But that's great.
Yeah.
That is so good.
So who motivates you? How do you get what you need from somebody else or, growing up or over these years? Because you give so much. I mean, you can see it. When you're performing, when you're presenting or preparing, you're really just giving it. You are all there, mind, body, soul, literally everything. How do you get that same kind of pull and motivation from somebody else?
I get it in the moment when I get the feedback from the audience. I always say you can't give more than you receive, and that's for sure. That was another one of the challenges of COVID because you didn't have that feedback mechanism where the audience was, you could see their eyes, you can feel the emotional connection.
Right.
And so there was this, what it taught me, and it gave me a great skill as a performer, and I will answer your question, but I was almost hyper aware of my audience's response to what I was doing. Because I grew up at Renaissance festivals performing for crowds in the round, and if you don't hold their attention, they walk away.
Right.
So you have to be constantly aware of everything, keeping people engaged, and then at the end of that show, you ask them for money. And you do this 6 times in a row, day after day after day. So you really cultivate this like high level of awareness of, I've got to give the audience what they want.
Right.
Well, that whole period of COVID in my virtual studio, I learned to just sit comfortably in what I was teaching without the need for that validation from my audience. And it kind of gave me this other level, this other gear. And so now I feel like it's kind of, I've got both skills. And I can really understand the audience, but also, and get that from them. But I also am more confident in just the moments of silence like this in communication. But I get recharged physically. I'm all about movement and exercise, and every day I'm working on my disciplines and skills, and it's part of what keeps me young because I'm 53 now and I'm still doing handstand push-ups on lecterns and tumbling runs across stages and mountain unicycling. And
it's crazy.
And it's just fun to see how long I can keep that journey going. I get really inspired and challenged from my peers in the National Speakers Association. And I'm involved in a couple of very high-level mastermind groups. One's called Speakers Roundtable, which is the longest-running established collegial group of professional speakers and authors and trainers.
Wow!
It's only 20 people, and I was invited many years ago to be a part of that group, and so it's like a huge honor, and that's a big one. And then I have a smaller group of some friends. And just people with these skills that are so far beyond mine, and I find spending time around people that have skills that are that stretch you in so many ways. You can learn from someone by saying, can you answer this question? Or can you teach me how to do this? And there's that transactional element. But when you really immerse yourself and have time with someone, it goes from transactional to transformational because you begin to anticipate their answer. And now when we're not even together anymore, I can ask myself, what would Dan Burris say about this? What would my friend Mike Rayburn say about this? And you can know that because you spend so much time with them. And then I would say, and not to diminish her and put her last, is my wife challenges me in many ways and also fills me in so many ways with her generosity and spirit and amazing capacity to just give and love and care about everyone, all many times at her own detriment. But like she once donated a kidney to someone she met once. That's my wife. That's
What?
Shay. Yeah. So she's a very generous person.
Oh my gosh.
She once gave away my car while I was out of town. Like these things happen. And I always joked with her, it will amaze me if you get out of this life with both kidneys, right? And it was a joke until the day that someone said, my son needs a kidney. And she was like, I'll do it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that's just that's her gift, is this putting others first, this abundant generosity. And so that notion of like, you can't give more than you receive, whole nother level when you donate body parts, man.
I have no words. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What does it take for that? Oh my gosh, to be able to, not even just the act of it, but to the decision-making process to be able to do that.
Well, her whole decision process, and I'm not exaggerating, was when I said, are you going to, so my mom sent out this email to friends and family about, well, not my mom, but my mom's friend, Bob Comines, sent this out to all of his friends, including my mom and us, because we barely knew Bob. And it said to, anyone if this has ever been on your heart, my son Connor, who's 17, is in need of a kidney. And it went on this beautiful letter. Mm-hmm. And I came home from work and she said, did you see Bob's email? I said, you're going to do it, aren't you? And these were her words to me, Vanessa. She said, I have two. Like, that was her whole thought process of like,
oh my God,
in terms of like positive chaos.
Wow.
The little things that you do that are in congruence and alignment. It's almost like she'd been thinking about it. She knew that's who she was. And it's almost like when you're convicted in that way and something in life presents itself as an opportunity, you have to answer it or deny who you are.
My goodness. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. Oh my gosh, there are two of you. Holy cow. Wow. Wow.
But I will tell you, she loves it here. So far, she's digging the hotel.
She is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And we're here, and this is, which I haven't even mentioned, and when you walked in, what did you say about this place?
I said, I need to bring my wife here. What is this place? Is what I said. What is this place? This is amazing.
Yeah, so we're in La Botica, who helps sponsor Mod Pod with Fukunaga in Las Ventanas al Paraíso, which is the number one hotel in all of Cabo, probably all of the Western region, and more and more.
I can see why.
It's over the top. So we've changed the reservation for tomorrow night. Now you're coming to Audible and La Botica tomorrow. As a surprise, don't tell her.
Yes, I won't.
Don't tell Shay. So in every episode of Mod Pod with Fukunaga, I do some ridiculous Mod Pod experience. And I'm thinking you always put me off balance.
That's true.
Off balance on purpose or positive chaos. I'm tying in the books.
Yeah.
I figured and I like a good little competition.
Okay.
So our competition, we're going to, at the same time, pull out all the tissues and see who gets there first.
To the empty end of the box?
To the empty box.
One at a time?
One at a time. I haven't decided if we should do two hands or one. You decide. One or two?
I think two would be more fun.
Okay. Then on this one, we're going to start with this one. And you see how the top ones have a little mark? That's the top cup. So it's the first person you're going to go, doom, and you're going to put all of them one on top of the other, and the first one to get it to the bottom.
Have you been practicing?
No, why didn't anybody tell me to practice?
Like you have the time.
No, exactly. Can you imagine I'm sitting in my office doing these cups?
Or driving?
Oh my God, that would be crazy. But you always put us off balance, and you're able to do, all of your tips and tricks and, acrobats and I don't know.
You got to do them one at a time.
One at a time.
Okay, I'm with you.
Don't practice,
Tissues,
Dan. Don't practice,
cups.
Dan. Exactly. We're doing cups first.
Cups first?
Should we do cups first or tissue?
Cups first.
Okay. So we're going to go 3, 2, 1. If you win the prize, if you win, then I'm not sure what your prize will be, but you know me, it'll be good. If I win, you owe me coming back to Cabo. That's a good punishment. Ready? 3. Hold on. 2, 1, go.
One at a time.
Right?
Oh, they want to go two. I'm not cheating though. You're flying
gosh.
now. You're flying. Oh, look at her.
I'm
look
Japanese. I will literally.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Go. Ready, go. Oh, one at a time.
One at a time. Okay.
Oh, I'm not throwing. I got to throw. Dang it.
They're coming out twos.
I know.
I'll
I'm
break
not
them up.
cheating.
I'll break them up. Oh, they're coming up 2 at a time. Yeah, we got it.
This is challenging my dexterity.
Leaving. My box is going away.
Oh, me too. How many tissues are in?
Excuse me.
How many tissues are in a box?
Too many, I'd say.
Oh my gosh.
Well, that's a lot.
Oh my!
I got to break those up.
Still,
one at a time. One at a time.
You know when you're at your house and it does this? Ah, Dan, you did not finish. Oh! Nice. Don't leave me hanging.
Oh. But you know what?
What?
I feel like I already got the prize. Because I'm here and I'm hanging with you. And so, we're good.
I love it.
We're
one
good.
and one. Thank you, Dan. You put me off balance, and that's good to kind of get me out of my comfort zone. So tell me, you just mentioned you're 53. I didn't talk about age. But how do you see that, if you can, how do you see kind of some of the next chapters of your life, or the next 10 years, or what do you see?
Well, there are aspects of it which are extremely intentional, and others that I'm open to the unknowable aspects that are coming just as a result of how I've lived my life to this point. Because that's the thing, it's like you create all these ripple effects that go out into the world as a speaker and author and thinker. Like when you've devoted your life to understanding the human condition and trying to articulate that and help people, you just get better. So like theoretically, that trajectory piece, you get wiser with age, right? With Positive Chaos, we also did a research study across the United States, and it's the first of its kind in terms of really looking at the impact of chaos on the American workforce. And so we have this data and these statistics, and it's really disturbing in terms of how it's affecting people's anxiety and sense of confidence and health, mental health, and just the concept of the future. Like 1 in 4 Americans, working Americans, think about quitting at least once a day.
Yikes.
6% think about suicide at least once a day. It's crazy. And that's just because of they don't properly understand what uncertainty and randomness and the nature of chaos, what it really is. When we hear that word, we think of it as this incredible negative in our life, when it's really not. It's a force that you can leverage for positivity just as easily if you know how to frame it and know how to make different choices, so you're not just reacting to your life, but you're responding in a very intentional way. So my point is, there's this trajectory of me as thought leader, me as expert, me as researcher, me as another author, etc. I don't know what I'm going to be doing at 60, 65, if I'll still be doing handstand push-ups and tumbling across stages. It kind of doesn't matter, but I will tell you, I'm going to be a really cool 65-year-old.
I believe that.
I'll be doing more than most 65-year-olds at that age.
I believe that.
And hopefully my golf game will be better, right?
Next time,
yes,
you need more time here. Golf.
I know.
We have 20 some odd, 25, maybe 26 golf courses now in Cabo.
I look at them as we're traveling from here to there, and I think,
it's so good.
Another time, I'll bring my cousin Brandon. My cousin Brandon and I are golf buddies, and we kind of collect courses all over the world. We like to play together. So
Cabo.
Come
on. Anytime. It's an open door policy with me.
Okay.
Not that I hold the keys to Cabo, but
I'm kind of convinced you do, Vanessa. I think you do.
I wish. But you have to come back and play.
Okay.
Yes, I play. I'm not good, but I can be semi-entertaining.
You don't have to be good to be a golfer.
I agree. I can pick up and keep going.
Exactly.
Yes, and sometimes I can, nail a drive.
I just did a speech last week or a week and a half ago for the PGA of America. And all the different section leaders and everything like that. And in the speech, I said something like, I was talking about you never know who's in your audience and how all the engagements in my life, you never know who's listening to this podcast. And he says, he sounds like someone I'd like to get to know, and goes out to the website and invites me for some, you never know, right? And so I said that, and then I said, I'm not saying I expect all of you to invite me to play golf at your resorts, at your clubs, but it may happen. And I got all these invitations.
Oh,
it's like,
my gosh, that's so good.
But what I said about golf is I don't play enough, and I don't play as well as I'd like to, which is honestly, that's the definition of a golfer.
Exactly. I feel exactly the same way, but that's good.
But see, everybody feels that way.
That's good.
No matter how good you are.
Oh, it's so fun, isn't it?
It's the best.
You have to come back.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Could you listen to him forever? I don't even want to stop, but I get you for at least tomorrow and our 25th anniversary celebration, which is more me hosting you.
Yes.
And I hope you have a lot of fun. You know me, I love a good event.
I have no doubt.
So we're in La Boutique. Let's have a little toast just to say thank you so much. Remind everyone of your website.
Yep. Okay.
And your books.
danthurmon.com. My books are Off Balance on Purpose, which is available now. Positive Chaos coming out in the spring, but available for pre-order on Amazon or wherever you get your books. So you can order it right now. And yeah, stay tuned. I do a weekly coaching video. You get that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which goes out every Tuesday morning. That I edit with my son, Eddie. And if you really want to get to know our family, follow me on TikTok and follow my daughter, Maggie, who has 5.4 million TikTok followers. Did you know that?
I did. Well, I didn't know that was the new number, but I knew she was in the millions.
She's crushing it. We do a weekly podcast called Wholesome Chaos, which my son also edits. My wife is also featured on, and so we're out there as a we're out there. We're not hiding anything, and we just kind of all think about trying to live our lives in a way to inspire people. So I can't wait to get to know you and inspire you in the future.
Well, we love you. We're inspired, and we will continue to be inspired. Cheers to you, to the audience, and you can see this podcast and all my other podcasts wherever your podcasts are available on all of those social channels. So thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Thanks for listening to Mod Pod with Fukunaga. Follow the episodes on all major podcast platforms, including Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and many more.